in episode 134, and welcome into the Bench is Clear podcast, where we cover the best rivalry in all of sports. I am Jesse Gutierrez, and I represent the side of the San Francisco Giants, who are mid and went 500 again this week.
And I'm David Contreras, or Doyers Dave, as you can see me on Twitter or Instagram, and I represent the Dodgers side, also struggling this week. So, yeah, let's get going.
Let's talk about the Dodgers struggling, because I feel like I've just been talking about the Giants struggling and being sad boy and just crybaby all the time. Let's hear about your woes. I would love it. I'd love to hear about your depression right now, Dave, please.
So we played the Padres last week. Then we played followed by the Nationals. Lost both series. Yeah.
Talk dirty to me.
Everybody's making a big deal about Ohtani not hitting with runners in scoring position. I think that will come. I mean, when you're used to not having runners in scoring position for your whole career, it's a surprise when you go up to bat and there's people in scoring position. So he'll figure that out. But the pitching is a little worrisome because we're losing. We lost Bobby Miller. Bueller, I don't know when he's coming back, and I don't think he's the answer to all the problems either, because he's coming back from Tommy John, I believe. So that is a little worrisome. The bullpen is worrisome. We're missing pieces there. And then the lineup, man, the bottom half of the lineup, especially when Freddie Freeman is I know he's hitting, but he's also struggling at the same time, if that makes any sense. He's just not his normal self. So, and then when he gets robbed of hits with amazing defense, it just makes it even worse. So, and I've said it before, when the top three struggle, it makes the bottom of the lineup even more. It shines a light on them even more, how bad they are. Because if the top three struggle and nobody else picks it up, then they're really in a hole. So, yeah, we really need a lot of these facets of the game to pick it up. And everybody says it's early and all that, but I mean, as much as I want to say the sky is falling, we've seen this team win 100+ games and all that, and I'd rather they be playing at their full potential later in the year than right now. So, I mean, of course, I don't want them teetering over 500 and just playing 500 ball, but just pick it up a little bit.
You're going to lose some series. I mean, I understand you're going to lose the World Series every once in a while. But
hey, you gotta get there though. You got to get there first.
Yeah. So I don't know. We talked a little bit before about this, but just how much shit you gave to me about how the Giants got the snot kicked out of them by beating the Nationals. How sweet it was to see you guys get beat by the Nationals was not. I guess the real question is, do you think the Nationals are just that team who's just, they're going to be the bugaboo of the NL West right now, or are they legit where they're going to maybe compete for a wild card spot, maybe even not this year but next year?
I think they're coming. I mean, watching them this series, I think they have a lot of young guys that can play, man.
What?
CJ Abrams, second baseman, I forgot what his name is, Garcia, I think. They got a lot of good pieces, man. And then they brought up a kid to pitch that first game who looked really good too. So they're definitely coming, but not yet. We should still be able to. Both of our teams should be able to win those series. Even if they lose a game to them, they should be able to handle those series. So it was unfortunate to see them get shut out at home.
Right. And it's those series do happen. I mean, there's, every year you get swept by the A's once or something. It's just funny because they beat the Giants and the Dodgers in, I think, back-to-back pods,
consecutive series, right?
Yeah. Something like that. So it's kind of
I don't know if it was last year or the year before. The Pirates had our number. I think they swept us at home too. That was, and then.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or something.
Is that my thing is are the Nationals that team, or the Nationals the team at the end of the season being oh, they're the Cinderella team. No one thought that they were going to make the playoffs, and look at them. They got the first wild card spot. I don't know. It's pretty crazy, but you get what I'm saying.
I
So
think
I mean,
that's a big reach if they do it,
right,
and
right.
I'll eat crow if that's the thing. But you know what I mean?
Well,
Like, there's a
I'll
lot
chop
of
it
good
up.
teams.
If it happens, I'm gonna chop this up and make it look like I'm just the smartest man in the world, and make it to where my Tigers prediction is actually the Nationals. But it's kind of really hard to like um their offensive pieces, like their prospects that are coming. Obviously, C.J. Abrams, ever since he put a Nationals uniform on, all of a sudden he's the man. And they definitely got some pieces. Lane Thomas was killing us, so those pieces I feel like are legit. But I know when it comes to the Giants, if you're a pitcher that has like a 7 ERA, for some reason they always go 7 shutout against us. So it's really hard to analyze to see if their pitching is, and because Trevor Williams, that freaking bum, freaking dominated against us for the first game that we played against them. So like, and he had like an 8 ERA. So I mean,
I wish we
I
had
don't know.
faced him. We handled him good the last year we faced him, but
The entire
no,
league does.
we faced their young stud left-hander who just completely annihilated our lineup. So there's
Right.
that.
Yeah, and that's what like I just don't know who what I guess it's something that obviously we'll look and see, but it's funny because you never know if the Nationals are just that team where it's they just it's kind of crazy. Look, they did well against the Dodgers and the Giants this year, or they're going to do well against a lot of teams because they're that crew. But we'll
Yeah, and
see.
then when we played the Padres, I think the biggest thing that stuck out was the bullpen.
Mm,
Um, 2 games where they just did not have it, and I think that was obviously the offense wasn't doing great either. It was pretty anemic as well. One of the first games that was the best game. It was really exciting, and
right,
it seemed like they had it, but the bullpen just could not hold it down.
right. Yeah, you
And
score 7, you expect to win that game.
yeah, 7-3. You get punched in the mouth, 3-0, and you're like, okay, you got to respond. And then they come back with a great inning, and they took the lead. It was 7-3, and you expect like, okay, cruise control, just all the way, but didn't happen. The bullpen just could not. No matter what arm they threw out there, they just couldn't hold it down. So, and then that last game, just what was it, like 12 walks? That's ridiculous, man.
Right,
You're not going to
right.
win many games when you're giving up that many free passes. Eventually, they're going to be cashed in. So,
Mm.
yeah, the bullpen is a bit of a concern, or was a concern in that series. They did much better in the next series, I believe. But yeah,
Yeah, bullpens are up and down. I guess the real question is how do you feel about Mr. Irrelevant?
I don't feel anything, man. I really don't. It's a non-story. I mean, everybody blew it out of proportion, and it was like he didn't. I don't know how he meant it, but it's like, dude, he has a perfect game going. You are irrelevant at that point. He's not trying to
Right.
hit you. Like, why would he try to hit you in that spot?
No, 100%. I guess my question to you is how you felt about the entire situation. So for me, I just feel like it was because I'm a big fan of trash talking, obviously, but so it was really dumb for him to get upset about where he thought he was getting thrown at. But the next day he's kind of like, well, it was a misunderstanding, just competing, he wasn't throwing at me. I understand that. And that's kind of, obviously it's after the fact. You kind of look like a bitch at game one for doing that. But then when Will Smith calls him out and then you answer in game three, it kind of, I don't know. I think it sways back to Profar's looking like the winner of this
I
deal.
love it, man, because what he did was he protected his pitcher, and that's what he did because he wasn't going to let Gavin Stone be the one that go up to Mister Irrelevant. So what he was doing is
100%.
backing his pitcher, and if he does
Right.
that for his whole career as a Dodger, I'm 100% backing him. I don't care if the guy comes back and another pitcher gets him, but like he's just backing his pitcher. That's what he
Right.
did, So people blew it out of proportion and all that, but it's like if you really had a problem, then do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
For sure.
you didn't because you didn't have a problem. You just wanted to rile up your team, and it didn't work that game. So they lost that game. But he got his hit in he got the last laugh in the series. But I'm still taking Will back in his pitcher any day of the week, man. That's what you want out of your catcher.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I guess the real question is do you consider the Padres a real rivalry?
I don't know. It has to be, man. They beat us in the playoffs, so it kind of has to be. Because
Mm,
you could say like, hey, until they do it in the playoffs, then it's not a rivalry. But we beat them once in 2020, and then they beat us in 22. So it has to be, right? So it, it it's not at the level of the Giants, and it's never gonna be.
uh-huh.
But
They're the flavor of the week type deal, you
exactly,
know.
because I like we've talked about it before. Like the Diamondbacks thought they were our rivals for a while because they were really good
Right.
for a while, and we
Right.
faced them in the playoffs. And I remember that year they owned us that year, 17, and we swept them in the playoffs. But it has to be continuously. Like it has to keep going. You have to play in the playoffs year after year, kind of like the Red Sox, Boston kind of thing, for it to be like a rivalry kind of thing. Because it's not. If not, it's just a flavor of the week thing.
Yeah.
But you let the Padres fans have their moment, and hopefully they make the playoffs. Because if they don't, then it's not. Then it won't be a rivalry because you're not there.
Yeah, I just, and I, I understand there's obviously difference in rivalries. I get it. I just feel like I don't know. I wrestle with this thing because obviously Dodgers Giants rivalry, best rivalry in sports, right? But I feel like it's really hard to still like light that fire of rivalry when you just go into Dodger Stadium and get the shit kicked out of you. So I'm hoping 2021 was really fun. The last couple of years have been really not fun. You know.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like they they only want to make it a rivalry because they finally were like relevant. I don't think the Dodgers ever took them seriously until they got punched in the mouth in 22. And I'd hope that now they're taking them way more seriously and get up for those games but when you constantly beat them, like it's not you hate us, that's fine.
Right,
You
right,
hate the Dodgers and you hate them with all your with all your might, that's fine, but it doesn't make it a rivalry then.
right,
So because there was the the NLDS, then I kind of got to go to flavor of the week kind of rivalry thing.
right. Yeah. Basically, what I'm saying is Giants need to step up and not get their ass kicked in at Dodger Stadium anymore. So let's do that.
Yeah, don't get your ass kicked at Dodger Stadium. Get your ass kicked at Oracle
At
Park
Oracle
too.
Park. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Let's talk about a little Giants baseball. There's a lot of issues going on this week. I mean, it's just in overall, we're talking about another 500 week, and it's very early, and I get it. But it's kind of also at what point are we just going to teeter around 500 and just keep using the if we have one hot week, then we're gonna like, and that week just never comes. It's very early, you can't really peg too much on it, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I don't know, maybe win a series that's not against the fucking Marlins. I mean, the Rays series, I mean, it's not like, I don't know, like when we played the Dodgers, it felt that series was borderline. I mean, I'm sick of using the Dodgers. Let's go Nationals. Nationals was like borderline embarrassing. Um, Rays, it kind of seemed like games could go either way, especially in game one. Keaton Wynn looked great. He's pitched really well and hasn't really gotten his due. Game two obviously was the big blowout. All of a sudden, the offense woke up. The offense didn't really necessarily stop either. I mean, in game three, they had a lot of offense, but not a lot of offense. But if you're scoring 4 runs with the pitching staff the Giants has, you're going to win a lot of games. But the problem is Blake Snell is not Blake Snell at the moment, and he got pecker slapped on his first time back at Tropicana. So
That's what
you know,
I wanted to ask you about that. That's the problem
ask
with
me.
signing so late, man. You're not ready, and
Yes.
now you're going into these games. I know everybody says they're early, they don't matter, but they kind of do. And
Yeah,
he's
those
out there
games count.
pitching, and it's like he's getting his reps in now, and these games matter.
100%. But one thing that I did notice, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it as well, and it's kind of one of those things I definitely double check to see how long this narrative is. But if you look at Blake Snell's numbers in March and April, they're never good.
Oh, he's a notorious slow starter. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully this is just normal. I mean, this is definitely worse than he's usually been in March and April because I think right now his ERA is, just under 13 versus like, like a 5 or a 6, 7 ERA. There's just obviously a huge difference. But if he still kind of has that same mode and you get Blake Snell from May on, I mean, I think that's kind of what you sign up for. You're not expecting him to be on at the beginning of the season. That's kind of what you signed up for. So hopefully, with the slow, uh, uh, the non-spring training doesn't affect it into May, then that's when it would be a little concerning. But if that guy is helping you so much during that time, and even just pitchers have bad starts all the time. You know what I mean? So like even if it's I don't care who it is. Logan Webb got the crap kicked out of him one time this year, and then has had another rocky start another time this year. So it's like those starts happen. If Blake Snell just decides to start them all, have them all be in 1 month, I'm cool with that too. You know what I mean? So
I mean,
if
you
you
just
could
hope it's
squeak
not
out
too
of it and
late.
beat okay.
Yeah, you just hope it's not too late by the time he gets right.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, like, because here's the thing: if you just switch the games, if you switch the pitch, if Blake Snell started game one and Keaton Wynn started game three in that series, we'd have a series win. All right, it would be an embarrassing game in game one, but at least you'd have a win in game three. Is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, that's another thing. It didn't seem like it was a you got blew out of the water. It just seemed like that was a series that could have went either way. So there's a thing you can look positive on that. But also there was a big, I don't say big controversy, but because it didn't end up meaning anything, but I'm not sure if you saw the play at third base against Matt Chapman. Um,
I did not. I need you to refresh my memory. What happened?
so it was, Rosario hit a triple. Well, sorry, he hit a double and was trying to stretch it into a triple, was out by a mile. And when Matt Chapman caught the ball, you know, I don't want to make it seem too homerish here. I understand he was still in front of the bag, but when you get the ball and you're going to tag somebody, I mean, what do you do? Are you supposed to just put your arms to one, I mean, your legs to one side and then just try to tag them? Like you're going to stand there.
Well, how far? How much did the throw beat him?
Oh, beat him by 3 or 4 steps.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, what are you supposed to do? If you're out by that much, the rules shouldn't apply.
Right. And that's the problem, right? So umpires have to have some sort of feel here. I understand the rule and rules are there for a reason, but it's also a little different when it's a bang bang play versus
Exactly.
by
Like
three
that's
or
what the
four
rule
feet.
is intended for, right? Like a bang
Right.
bang play.
Right. Exactly.
Because I've seen it called. I don't remember what other game, and the guy was out by a mile too. And then they're like, "No, he was in the way." Like, what do you mean? Like,
But
it just
here's also a thing too. It's like so the defensive player has to give a substantial lane. He can't block the bag by any length, but then base runners can do swim moves. It's like you have to be you have to do it the same way then because if they're doing swim moves, you got to make sure you tag the dude. You're gonna have to
exact.
fall onto the guy or because if you're
Yeah.
going just straight for the chest, the arm is longer. It reaches out further than the chest does. So I don't know. It's just a huge disadvantage, and I think you just
No,
have to.
because I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying you just have to have some feel there. I was ending.
No, because I saw the same thing with Max Muncy. They picked off a guy, and Muncy had all the time in the world, but the guy tried to do a swim move, and it was like really close. So it's like,
Right,
but if he blocks the bag, then it's like, no, the guy's safe. So
right.
it's kind of tough.
Yeah, it's making it's making tagging like almost like have to be a skill now. Where
Yeah,
it's like, dude, if you're out, just be out. Just
yeah.
I feel like that's the same thing
It
with
should,
like when you're sliding into second base and like you know you come off for a millisecond when the tag is still on, then all of a sudden they're out. I don't think that there should be some feel there. There should be some exceptions to the rule. And those sort of things, I think, should be exceptions to the rule. If you're out by 3 feet, you're out, dude. You're done.
There's just some rules that are not consistent because I've seen some when they're like there's a rundown and the guy gets completely out of the base path, but sometimes they're called safe. And it's like, no, no, he's safe. I'm like, wait, like I've seen another
Right.
game and he did the same. This guy did something similar that wasn't as egregious and he was
Right.
out, but this guy goes all the way out and he's safe. Like you gotta have some rules that like,
Yeah,
it just
that's why there should definitely be some feel, right? To where it's like, I get it, he can't completely block the plate, but yeah, if you're off by 3 feet, where else are you going to stand? You like an umpire should not be so robotic and then not want to have robot umps. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want the human element to be there, then use the human element of, oh shoot, that's 3 or 4 steps. Yeah, technically his foot was blocking 3/4 of the base, but he was, where else is he supposed to stand? He's out, and
yeah,
call it a
like
day.
the guy's waiting for him. Like it's not a bang
Yeah.
bang play. Like what are you looking at?
Yeah, that's not. I mean, and there was a lot of other rule issues. Like if we're to move on to the Marlin series, um, I know, I think we
Oh
talked
yeah, that
about this a
little
little bit. You
mishap there
saw
too,
the
huh?
Bob Melvin fiasco. Um, gosh,
Exactly.
yeah. So let's hear where you stand on the fence on this, right? So Bob Melvin comes out and he's asking for Camilo Duvall to come out of the bullpen. It's the ninth, right? Oh, actually, sorry, it's the eighth. There's two outs in the eighth, and he comes out and he asks for the righty. So Camilo Duvall is not warming up. The only person in that bullpen is Taylor Rogers. So Taylor Rogers started coming out saying, no, 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 I want a Camilo Duvall. So they let Camilo Duvall warm up. They let him come out, still do warm up pitches on the mound, and there's no clock violations. They reset clocks for him. Um, where do you stay? Where do you think the rule should be as far as, you don't want the player to get hurt, so you definitely want there to be,
This
he
actually
needs to be able to
happened.
throw up some pitches, but well, where exactly are you at on this?
I think you got to eat it. Like if you make the mistake, you got to eat it. I remember it was I don't know how long ago it was, but Roberts wanted a pinch hitter. He did not call Matt Beatty. Matt Beatty still came out and went out there and he had to hit. But it's
Right.
like, they made a mistake. Okay, so but the mistake is made, it's done. You have to go with it. You know what I mean? So I think he ended up having to hit. So if you call the wrong guy or whoever comes out, that's it. I don't think you should get awarded and be like, "Oh, it's an error. Let's go back and read." Nah, it's we're in the big leagues here. You messed up. You eat it.
Right, but at the same time, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you to an aspect, but I don't think that should come at the expense of like someone's like health. So he should still be able to warm up. He should, get all the time he needs to warm up. If they want to reset the clock, fine. But they're giving balls and strikes away from people that are taking too long on either side. So if that means he has to start with an 0-1 or shit, I mean, even 0-2 count, I think that's probably where you go on that.
I don't know if that's fair because you're like, well, it was our mistake, and now we're gonna let him warm up, and then we're gonna let him warm up on the field, and you guys get nothing. You guys just have
Yeah,
to
well,
wait till
no,
he's
you would
ready.
you would you would get a couple balls versus having like a player be hurt and not let him warm up.
I understand the health aspect of it. I get it. I don't want anybody hurt, but it's like you made the error. So like, you know what I mean? Like the Marlins are
He
like,
says,
okay, like, we get two strikes, but we have to face this nasty pitcher now that he's well warmed up. Like,
all right.
I don't know. I see both sides of it, but
So you think they should just get the automatic walk, and then they
you
should
know what?
also be
That's
able
actually
to
that's actually good. Give him an automatic walk.
the
Give
automatic
him the
walk,
base. Yeah.
and then the team should also be able to stone Camilo Duvall for taking too long. Is that what you're saying?
They should stone Bob Melvin, not Duvall. It's
So
actually a
that
good compromise. Give the batter the walk. He
right,
had to warm up twice. Give him the walk. And then you just
yeah.
let him go.
I think, I mean, there's clock violations for a reason, right? So I mean, I think they should just count the clock. So if he takes enough time to where it's 4 pitches are supposed to be thrown, yeah, it's an automatic walk. You know what I mean? So I can get that, but you know, We'll
Yeah, I
work that
mean,
out next time. Our next
just like I mean, Skip was out of
meeting
his
with Bob
mind, angry,
Manfred.
right?
Yeah, he went crazy, dude. I mean, that guy's fighting for his job. Gabe Kapler's breathing down his neck. So
I mean, I'd be
who
just
knows?
as mad if I was him too, but yeah,
You got to, even if you're not that mad, you got to,
you got to try to send a message like, "Hey, man, you can't
yeah,
allow this." Like,
you
then
got to be the
other
manager,
teams
and
are gonna
you,
do it.
yeah, you got to take the lead on it, and you got to flip your shit.
Yeah,
But
because then somebody else is gonna take advantage of that thing and be like, "Oh, no, 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 I wanted the other guy." Now and use it as a strategy.
exactly, and even the resident homer here, the homer just wants to be like, oh no, he's fine, it's cumulative all, let him warm up. But he obviously there needs to be some repercussion, not not for him to blow his arm out, but the rules are there for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so give the guy a couple balls. You know what I'm saying? Hey yo.
Hey,
Um.
yo, man.
So what can you do? But yeah, I mean, in all, I mean, the Marlins series after that was kind of like it kind of got a little dicey there in game three. Like, oh shit, are we about to lose a series to the to the to the Marlins? But Matt Chapman, Tara Estrada, they're just the best, coming through in the clutch. So saving the embarrassment of you know getting taking a loss series because at this point it's like if you're not going to take series against the Dodgers, you're going to lose to the National. You got to beat the fucking Marlins, dude. So there it is. Good times.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Marlins.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Dodgers, like we were talking, I think I'd be more concerned if we were at full strength. If we were at full strength and still like teetering the way we are right now, I'd be upset. I'd be more upset. But it's like they're not at full strength yet. They're missing a lot of pieces. So once they get those, then I can assess them a little more differently.
But in today's baseball, it seems like there's no such thing as full strength. There's always going to be people on the IL, even when they don't even need to be on the IL. There's, sitting when, resting, and I guess in the NBA world, load management's a real thing where the phantom IL is used. I know they're saying they're gonna punish it, but how are you gonna check for arm fatigue? The
Yeah.
team tells them, hey, you need a little bit of time. You need to take a couple starts off, so we're gonna IL you for 10 days. So
Yeah. And it doesn't seem to matter how many pitchers we sign. They're still gonna get hurt. Like it's still gonna be the same amount of pitchers on the
right, but
IL.
I think that's part of obviously there's the big stars and how good is your lineup that really dictates a season. But at the same time, I think that part of depth is your team as well. So like, I don't know. I just have a thing with like, I just don't know how full strength you're ever gonna get. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I get that part, but I mean, it just seems like there's a lot
Who's
of missing
who's out
pieces.
right now? Who's out right now for the Dodgers? Give me an update. Injury update brought to you by Dave.
We just lost Bobby Miller.
Bobby Miller's
That's
gone.
a big
How long is
piece.
he gone for? Is he? I remember. Was it an
Well,
elbow issue?
it was shoulder inflammation or something like that, and they said it was going to be maybe one or two starts because they didn't find
Oh,
anything
okay.
in the
Okay.
MRI. But so hopefully he comes back. But they're also missing Trinan, Gratterall, and those are big pieces for the bullpen, man. Like
Right.
that's if
Right.
like Rogers, both Rogers were out. You're missing those key setup guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're missing anybody offensively. Nobody's is gone.
Right.
They're just bad right now. But pitching wise, we need some arms back, and then yeah, we can see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, especially because if the bullpen is what kind of fucked you up. I mean, offense is going to go up and down.
Yeah,
And we talked a little bit. I think we've had the same issue. We're trying new segment alert. We're going for the issue of the week, and it has to be strikeouts, but not any sort of strikeouts. At least for the Giants side, we're talking strikeouts right down the pipe. I mean, strikeouts are a thing of the new age, right? It doesn't matter if players strike out 100 times, 200 times if they're hitting 30 bombs, teams don't give a fuck anymore. But there's a huge issue at least going on this side where the Giants are, I mean, with a article from Grant Brisbee from the Athletic, talking about the Giants are literally the worst team at strikeouts in the zone. So they're sorry, looking at pitches in the zone. I'm having a hard time. How do you say the statistic without sounding stupid? They're not swinging at meatballs down the middle of the plate. The worst at it, and this is in the scouting report. So they are also seeing the most strikes right down the middle of the plate. So
It's just things you love to see, man.
it's just like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like if you're on a 2-2 count, or you're in protect mode, or I know a lot of players don't give a fuck about protect mode. They're still swinging for the fences every single time. But if you were in the bottom and you got to choose the pitch, your pitch would be, okay, give me a fastball right down the middle. Well, guess what? We're gift wrapping it. Here it is to you, and you're just looking at it. Like, what are you looking for where you're not swinging at a pitch right down the middle? Not a curveball, not a meatball, fastball right down the middle, and you're not swinging at it. Like,
Yeah, because you
I don't
can
know.
live with a good curveball, with a good slider, with a good
Right.
like a pinpoint fastball. You can live with that. But I've always
Paints a
said that I
corner, right?
just the things that upset me the most is when a pitcher is in a big spot and he's throwing uncompetitive pitches and he just wastes his pitches, you know? And
Right.
also when a batter just strikes out looking. Instead of battling, he just looks at the last strike. Like you
Right.
can't do that. It's so
Yeah.
infuriating as a viewer. Like, oh man, it was right there.
Like,
Foul it off
especially,
if you didn't like the pitch, or do you know what I mean? Just pepper it,
yeah.
something.
And even if it's like, if it is strike three and you're looking at strike three, but it hits a corner, or like you said, like if it's even if it's right down the middle, but it's a curveball you weren't expecting it, it's like, oh fuck, I just got buckled. You
Yeah,
know,
if you get fooled like
you
that,
could
I get it.
you could live with. I mean, it still sucks because it's like, dude, you had two strikes, you should be swinging anything. But we're not coaches. We're just
No,
guys in our couch.
you
But
always want them to come through, but like some of those
right,
pitches are like, yeah, dude, there's no way. Like I didn't even think that was coming. So sure,
right.
you
But
got
right down
fooled.
the middle, what are we waiting for? So that's been my issue. I guess pretty much of the whole season. And I mean, the amount of strikeouts is crazy. I mean, you're striking out 10, 12, 13, 10, 9, 9 in this week's series. I mean, Ryan Weathers, Padres legend, um, strikes you out 10 times. Like, I don't know, dude. The guy's not exactly Tim Lincecum. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what's just that's frustrating to me. But I
See,
don't
for me,
tweet
it's
about it.
like
So
there's too many strikeouts in the lineup,
yeah,
and when you got what is it, Hernandez, Muncy, Outman, and then from Muncy all the way to the bottom, there's like 50 more than a 50% chance you're going to strike out because those guys can either hit a bomb or they'll strike out. But it's like you just need to put the ball in play, man. You can't get him on base if you don't put the ball in play most of the times.
right,
So I know the runners in scoring position looks bad, but they gotta focus on making contact with two strikes because good things happen, man. Maybe the other team botches it or something. Good things happen when you put the ball in play. And
right.
it's rough when they're just striking out with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, that's rough. And I get it. I mean, it's the hardest thing to do in sports. Hit a baseball.
I
100%.
mean,
I get it.
exactly. You're gonna have your ups
But
and downs, and when they're good, they're even good with two outs. It just
right.
they have rallies with two outs, and when they're bad, it's really bad. But it's
But
gonna
this
be like
is
that.
it's so little league. Fastball down the middle, swing, swing. Fucking hey, dude. But what can you do?
Eh, just move on. At least we get to play the next day. It's not the playoffs, so we get to watch them the next
That's
day.
that's usually my line. Usually,
That
you could talk about bigger and better things like, well, we got to play tomorrow, so that's tight.
that's the beautiful
Um,
thing about the regular season. There's always tomorrow.
well, speaking of what's going on this last week, capping off this week before we get into these previews for the next week's series is, if that's even a word, series is San Diegans. Um, let's talk about studs and duds. Stud and dud of the week. talking about the Giants side, I mean, I think this guy is probably having one of the most underrated um, seasons. Uh, Leadoff extraordinaire, first baseman. Not leadoff extraordinaire anymore. Sorry, I'm crazy. Cut that out. You know what I mean? Used to be a leadoff guy. Sorry, I'm talking about Laurent Wade Jr. Obviously, the platoon over at first. Last week hit 417, 1.2 OPS. You can't get any better. I mean, this guy's eye is crazy. He's playing a little bit of left too, which is coming in handy because it's given Mike Yastrzemski some much needed time because dude is hitting 100. He has gotten better. He's gotten a couple hits this week, which gives him a cool 100 versus hitting like 77 last week. So I hate to pick on the dude. Love Mike Yastrzemski, but you know, want him to start going. Maybe he will.
Well,
Maybe he'll. Maybe after this, sprinkle. I don't know what's happening in the eighth inning of this first game. I don't know. It's the future. We're just talking about last week. We don't know. Maybe that inspires Mike Yastrzemski to hit a RBI single. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know futures.
I mean, I'll see your Yastrzemski and I'll raise you, unfortunately, Chris Taylor for the second week in a row. I mean, he's still sitting with one hit. Where I'm not sure how many at bats he has now, but I do know he had a sacrifice fly, which was the highlight of his year so far. Um, but it's rough, man. It's rough, and especially because there's no answers in left field. I know they brought up Pajes, but they were playing him in center and right. So, it's either Kike or Taylor, and it's right now it's pretty rough. So
Mm-hmm.
one hit, one hit is just, and I know he's come up big, whether it's defensively in the playoffs or that big home run against the Cardinals, but
Right.
right now, man, it's tough to watch him, man. It's like every time he's up there, it's 0-2 already.
Right.
He
And
wants
it's
to launch
like
everything.
when it comes to these guys, the Mike Yastrzemskis and the Chris Taylors of the world, the veteran guys, of your team, they're not stars, had big moments. At what point do you start benching them? Is the big question. I mean, we are still really early in the season. I mean, it's really. I mean, if you made your time, you deserve a little bit of a leash. But how long does that leash go? You know, I don't know.
I mean, the
I think
problem is that for us, at least, the problem is that the replacement, whether it's Kike or whoever goes out there, isn't hitting either.
mm,
So it's not like you're benching him and getting, a better player to come in for them. They're both struggling. And, Roberts has said, this is one of our core guys. So, and I'm going to still throw him out there. And, sure, it's early. I get it. But he
at
has
what
one
point?
hit. Like, there's
Yeah,
no. There's no light at the end of the tunnel that I can see right now. Maybe he gets really hot or something, but it's like you look at him, you don't see anything changing. You just see him trying to launch everything, trying to, power his way out of out of a slump, and it's not working.
right.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
Hopefully he turns it around.
or hopefully not. I just feel what else are you gonna do when it comes to a guy like him though? Do you just hope that he just goes to AAA and gets a little bit of like seasoning,
I
or
don't think you can. I don't think you can do that to a veteran. You can't send him to AAA. It's not an option, I don't think.
right?
And you can't cut him because it's just not a thing. And who's going to trade for him? Like it's when their value is so low, like you're stuck
Yeah,
with him until he figures it out or until you're brave enough to say, you know what, man, I think this is the end of the line. But I don't think we're even
yeah.
close to that yet.
But he
So
still has
as
speed.
bad
You
as
can
it
even
looks.
you can even bench him a bit, and come off the bench and steal a bag for us or something. I don't fucking know.
Well, I
I
mean,
know.
the sad thing was that he finally got on base the last series, and then he got thrown out trying to steal. Like he got picked off. So I was like, oh man, you
Can't do
feel
that
for the
either.
guy because it's like you finally get to first base. You finally feel what it's like to get to first base, and you get
Uh-huh.
picked off. It's like, oh man,
You finally get to first base and you're reaching for the titty and you just get smacked away. No second
exactly.
base for you. Just like Patrick Bailey. No, 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 no. Not happening. But yeah, I mean, let's forget about the past, Dave. The past is the past.
Let's move on
This
to the
week,
future.
yeah, this week is looking good. I'm feeling frisky because we don't know what's going on in these first games. I'm gonna put my whole life savings that the Giants are winning Game 1 against the Diamondbacks. Don't know why, but that's what I'm feeling.
Okay.
I'm feeling they're
Going
gonna
out
be
on a
up
limb there,
five
huh?
nothing going into the ninth. That's just what I'm. That's I don't know. I'm pretty much Miss Cleo at this time, so who knows what? He knows what happens. But they are doing their homestand, 4 against the Diamondbacks, and then 3 against the Mets. I tried to do reverse psychology and got 500 again, so I'm not doing that this week. I'm gonna go for over 500 week though. I'm still gonna go for a series split with the Diamondbacks. Still a good team, and then a series win against the Mets. So what is that? 2, 4, 4-3 week. That's where I'm heading. Dave, what do you got?
Well, I mean, we got the Mets before we go off into a big road trip. So I'm just gonna focus on the Mets and hopefully we just, 2-1. We win the series. Maybe we lose one. But I don't know because I believe we have Yamamoto going the first game, but then it's
Mm-hmm.
TBD for the rest of the game. So
Bullpen
I don't even
Yanks
know
and
who's
shit.
pitching. So we'll see. I mean, but honestly, with this offense, it shouldn't matter. They
Mm-hmm.
should be in every game if this offense can show up. So I'm hoping the offense finally shows up or
It's
comes
supposed to be the
back.
best offense in the world, like forever. So
The
yeah,
best
they
offense
should.
money can buy. So they have to
Yeah,
show up. And I need the bottom of the lineup to pepper in some hits and just help
do
out the top of the
something.
lineup.
Do something, man.
Do something, please. Show us some signs of life.
Oh yes. What's the series after the Mets?
So after that, we're gonna have 3 games with the Nationals,
Oh, the
and then
mighty
three.
Nationals.
Yeah, we're on the road with the Nationals. Then we go to Toronto, and 2 with the Diamondbacks. Is it 2
Okay.
with the Diamondbacks? No, 3 with the Diamondbacks. So I'm gonna hold off on those predictions till we do the next one because
No, for sure. So the Nats is next week. So we're gonna find out if they're for real or not. If they were just a fluke. So you
you'd
let me
think they'd
know.
be. I don't know, man. The way this thing the season goes, who knows? They might be worse at home, but the way who knows?
Right.
Hopefully they're worse at home and we get them. We shouldn't have to be like hoping to win against the Nationals.
That's right. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm hoping for? The Giants put in this new lights, then like made like a huge thing. I hope they get to use the freaking lights. They're supposed to do like a big thing for like home runs and big entrance for Camilo Duvall that we haven't seen yet. Now, I mean, if my prediction comes true, they're up so much where Camilo Duvall's not going to come in. So my prediction is that they use the lights. Someone hits a home run, Camilo Duvall's going to get his entrance, and it's going to be great. Better than Edwin Diaz, because fuck that guy. You can quote me on that.
Well, then I'm gonna go with another prediction. I'm gonna predict that
Okay.
Andy Pajes will hit his first home run in this series versus the Mets.
Okay.
He goes yard. Yeah.
Pages, hitting dingers. I like it.
Yeah.
Um,
Turning the page on the last series and hitting a
okay.
home run in this one.
Okay, I like that. And if he doesn't, you have to buy
Then
me
we'll just
Chipotle.
scrap this out of the podcast. It
No,
never
no,
happened. I
you owe
never
me
said it.
Chipotle, but if he does, I'll give you a you were right, and I'll give you a thumbs up. It'll be like that Fast and Furious
I'll buy
thing.
you lunch. I'll buy
Your
you lunch
respect,
if he
your
doesn't
respect
hit.
is good enough for me, But yeah, that's great. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Make sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform as well as YouTube. Like the stuff, like everything, help us grow. It'll be great. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Benches Cleared P, Twitter. Oh, sorry, Instagram, Benches Clear Podcast, Twitter, Benches Clear P, and TikTok, Benches Cleared.
What he said. And thank you for listening. And we'll see you again next week.
Next week.
Yeah.